which you got to know in 2 weeks, they're going to devise something you haven't seen. They're going to give you some type of personnel group or formations you haven't seen that you're going to have to stop. That's buried somewhere deep in their playbook. They're going to pull all those things out. So as a defensive player, when we played against the Rams, for instance, the greatest show on turf, the one thing that we tried to do was limit the things that they do, turn it into a different football game, make it more physical, take away all those fancy toys that they were going to use in explosive plays and turn it into a different game. But the onus on a defensive, whether it's a defensive coordinator or a captain or players, is you don't want to forget or leave any rock unturned, because one mistake defensively with that type of personnel can turn into a touchdown or a big play. So it's repetitive, going over everything, trying to figure out what they may do off of certain things. They may change the different personnels, how they're going to use the different guys. It's just something you got to continuously do, and it never gets bored, trust me, because when you make that mistake in a big game like that, everybody sees it.
You know, it's really interesting. You just said something really interesting. You said when you played the St. Louis Rams, you wanted to make it physical. You wanted to change the way the game was. Well, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
When I watched the first quarter last week of the Buccaneers and the Packers, one of the things that jumped out to me was the audio of the game. The hitting by Tampa was a little late and really ornery. And I'm like, oh, Tampa's trying to intimidate Green Bay.
Yes.
That's very, by the way, Green Bay's got all the toys, Kansas City. It is funny when I look at that, Todd Bowles is super aggressive. I mean, Vita Vea, JPP, Shaq Barrett, Levante David. These are like nasty guys. They're like physical guys. Yes. So what you're saying is probably same thing. Tampa wants this to be a street fight. They want it to be the octagon. They just want to they may hit late. That's what they do.
Well, I don't know about hit late, but you want to be physical and hit early and often. If you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, Colin and Joy, who comes up to the line and aggressively jams their receivers? Nobody. Who jams Kelsey? Nobody, because they don't want to get beat off the ball and they don't want their receivers to run by people. But if you devise a plan where you can slow them down and Mahomes can't deliver the ball when he wants to get the ball out of his hands, and you throw the timing off, then that allows your front four or five, which the Bucs have been getting pressure with, 4 guys or 5, they've been getting to the quarterback. It allows them to get to the quarterback. And teams don't understand that. That's why Bill Belichick and Parcells and some of these other great defensive minds, are so good, because they understand in order to get rushed, you don't always have to come up with some crazy blitz or come up with these type of different schemes. You got to allow the quarterback to not have his first options and pull the ball down. That will give the front 4 or front 7 time to get there. And teams are so nervous about getting ran by Robinson and Tyreek Hill and Watkins and all these fast guys that they have, they don't even give it a chance. So then they're at the offensive mercy of trying to figure out what else to do and jumping in the zone, jumping in man, and being one-dimensional, and it never works against those type of teams.
So you were in multiple Super Bowls with Brady and Belichick. Does it feel different? Are there more plays? Is it more intense? What is a Super Bowl? Does it feel different being in a Super Bowl? Now, I know Belichick's not coaching now, but when you're in with Brady, and Brady takes a lot of the Bill Belichick stuff over, that intensity and that details. So now you're going to have Brady, which you've been in Super Bowls with him, and he dictates practice and dictates tempo and terms. Is it different?
It's intense. Hell yeah. It's intense and it's different, because the mindset is every play counts. Every play means something. And you don't keep looking back, but how you approach the football game, how you prepare, the momentum swings that you face in the game, the in-game adjustments and halftime adjustments, all that stuff is critical. So, yes, it's intense, and you got to have the right mindset going in. You can't be wilted by one play or one thing that happens. You got to be physically and mentally tough in every situation. And to know is to experience. So a lot of those guys who have never experienced that type of environment and the intensity and the things that go on, sometimes they can be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But the guys that have, they have that mindset, so they don't wilter when those certain situations happen.
Yeah, Brady's got a huge experience advantage. He has been there, and he is, you can just see he is clearly, obviously, kind of taken the baton from Bruce Arians. This is kind of Tom's team now. It almost feels like Tom's team and Todd Bowles' team, to be honest with you. Bowles super aggressive. I want to throw this out there. I'm generally not a big fan of holdouts, but in Deshaun Watson's case, I'm totally supportive. I think it's a mess. It almost feels like a cult. When you look at the Deshaun Watson situation, do you back up him holding out? Where do you land on that?
I think it's a tough situation because Deshaun Watson has done everything right in his career on and off the field. And for him to be this disturbed about a situation and somebody and not to have input on the next head coach, which usually makes a big difference with your franchise guy who you're paying a lot of money, who you pretty much created and put personnel and everybody around to have success. It is to me a little disturbing. Now, Nick Caserio, who came over from the Patriots, he wasn't involved in all the melee that happened prior to, but he has been in some of these difficult situations with players and staff and different things to understand how to pretty much go in the inner workings of that and try to figure things out, have conversations, bring guys together, put people in place. That's why he's there. I would say to ownership that you have to listen to your players. If there are a group of players, important, impactful players, the best players on your team speaking out, don't ignore what they're talking about. Sit down, listen to what they're saying, and see how that affects your team. If the players are not buying in, it doesn't matter who you bring in as a coach, who you bring in as a GM, who you bring in wherever, you will not win football games if the players don't buy in. Yeah. So everybody on every level, they have to be on the same page. Deshaun Watson is not only standing for what he believes in and holding out, but he's standing for all the other players that don't have the status or the voice to do and say what he's saying. So it's not just him. Understand that. That is very important. He is representing a lot of players on the Houston Texans who firmly believe exactly what he believes. But because he has the power and the voice, he is the one taking the onus of holding out and putting it out there.
Yeah, well said. Good stuff. Willie McGinest, 3 rings. Join him on the NFL Network. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Willie McGinest, a proud USC Trojan. Good talking to you, buddy. Love having you on. Thanks, Willie.
Always. Thank you, guys.
You bet. Made some really good points today. Yeah, he's speaking for the players. Listen, I'm not a holdout guy. I think you sign a contract, but I also know contracts get broken all the time. They get broken all the time. So, and if somebody behaves badly, break the contract. You can own a team forever, and you can run a team forever, and you can coach a team forever. You can't play forever. I think players show incredible emotional discipline. I would be a nightmare if this career was 8 years, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm run by a cult. You gotta be kidding me. These players are great. I'd be throwing sandwiches at people. I would be just not Jersey Mike subs. Those are too good to throw away. Hour 2, Nick Wright, Steve Smith,